at me. Charlotte, are you hurt? Are you hurt? Are you okay? Hey, we gotta get out of this thing. Hey, no. Don't move. Climb up through the window right there. You can do it. You'll be okay. You okay? We have to leave right now. Run.
Hello? Can anyone hear me? Hello? We were in an accident.
Daddy, are we gonna die?
No, it's my job to protect you.
And we were attacked. I think my husband was infected. Mike.
Daddy? What's wrong with Daddy?
He got sick.
What is happening to me?
Can you understand me? Yeah. You're hearing me. You're scaring me.
Back off! Please, Daddy's mean. Hurry, Mommy, he's coming.
Come on.
You are now listening to the Real Table Podcast with Michael Carter.
Welcome back to another episode of the Real Table Podcast with your host, Michael Carter. And it is great to be here at the table, and I'm excited about today's episode. It's been a really wild and chaotic week for me. Unfortunately, my wife got into a car accident, and she's healing up. Like, thank God that she's okay and she's doing a lot better. But she's healing up right now, and she's able to walk around and stuff like that, which is really good. But she's in a car accident, and so I've been putting off being able to do an episode for this week, and so finally, I can do an episode. I'm here on this. It's a Wednesday night, so Wednesday night I'm recording this episode, and I'm so excited. I was planning to do more recordings this week, but again, because my wife got in a car accident, I had to kind of push some things back. But I'm glad that she's okay, first and foremost. And then, yeah, I'm just glad to be back here at the table. We're talking The Wolfman, a movie that I'm really surprised that it came out in January. January is it's one of those months that it's a dead month. I think there are dead periods within the year of filming or filmmaking and movies and stuff, or not necessarily filmmaking, but of movies. There are dead periods. January is one of those dead periods, and usually the beginning of the year, depending on what's going on in February and March, you're usually not getting a lot of big, high-profile films. So I feel like January is usually a month where studios can kind of dump stuff out and see what people are feeling. And then you have those other films from the holidays that people still haven't yet to see. Like, I still haven't seen Mufasa. I've heard it's solid. I just haven't been. I'm not in the mood to run to see that movie. Den of Thieves, Pantera. I haven't heard much of that movie. I kind of heard it was solid, but still haven't heard that a lot of people are running to see that film. And then coming out this past weekend along with Wolfman, One of Them Days, which is a female comedy starring Keke Palmer and pop star SZA. SZA's a pop star. She's kind of pop R&B. So not a lot going on in the month of January and up until this point, but I do think there's some stuff here. There's some stuff to go see. One of Them Days looks like it's really good. It's probably the first all-female, or no, it's the first black female comedy since Girls Trip in 2017. And if I'm not mistaken, Girls Trip was a hit. So we haven't gotten an all-black female comedy in some time. So it's kind of cool to see that that's out there. And I've heard it looks like from the reviews and even from the reception that I've seen on Twitter, it sounds like it's a pretty good movie, which is really cool. That's produced by Issa Rae. If you know who Issa Rae is, Issa Rae, she created the show, HBO show Insecure. If you've heard of that, it's really good. I've watched all of the show. I thought it was pretty good. But Issa Rae produces this film, One of Them Days, which broke even this weekend. It didn't have this big explosive weekend, but it did have positive reception. So if you're looking for something to go see, this one sounds like it's going to be good. But I did see The Wolfman. I was supposed to see it again before my wife got in an accident. I was supposed to see it a lot earlier than I was planning. I was planning to see it last Thursday, and then I had to just push it to Saturday instead. So I had to push it a couple days off, which isn't too bad. But that one I was the most intrigued with, mostly because of the direction and who was directing Wolfman. So I was really intrigued to see this one and thought it could definitely be a sleeper. And I think it is a sleeper. It's not like the greatest movie in the world and fantastic, but it is a really solid, thrilling film, which makes me question if this movie should have been like a Halloween type-esque film, depending on what's all coming out in October. Yeah, I don't know. But I think January is one of those months where it's like you never see studios really putting out like big time productions or big time brands or blockbusters in January. You hardly ever see it. And they always hold their stuff into like the summertime, which is the big one, right? The summertime into the Christmas seasons. So Wolfman, and it did solid this weekend. It didn't do anything crazy. One of Them Days is heading and looking at today, or I should say Tuesday. From Tuesday, One of Them Days is leading with Mufasa second, and then Wolfman, then Sonic, and then Den of Thieves. So that's the outlook. So like, if there's anything, I know people sometimes are wondering what to go see, and you might not be interested in some stuff. There's some stuff. I think the reality is right now, you just have to be open to what's out there. You just have to be open to the movies that are being shown. Like for me, I really wanted to get to the theater this week. And the more I think about it, the more I'm sitting with it. I don't know if it's going to happen. I feel like I'm going to miss some stuff. I know Coleman Domingo is in Sing Sing, and I don't think I'm going to be able to catch that unless they're showing that into the weekend, which I hope. But again, the wife's accident, things got pushed around. I couldn't go to the movies this week. So there definitely is some things. I know people are like, sometimes are like, there's nothing to go see. There is some things you just have to be open to it. Like, it might not be your cup of tea, but if you want to see something, there are things. Now, I understand, like, for some people, they're like, it's got to be worth it because going to the theater is quite expensive, right? If you have a family, obviously you're not going to just see anything. You're going to see something that's family oriented. But I can get the whole idea of trying to not go to the theater for just anything, right? Unless you're going on a Tuesday where it's the cheap day, you can save some money, right? So that's kind of like the ebbs and flows right now of just like just everything when it comes to films right now. And that's just the landscape right now. Let me see. Sing Sing. I'm trying to see if this movie, which is getting a lot of awards buzz. I think Thursday's going to be its last day. I'm not going to be able to see it. That's going to suck. Yep, that's going to really suck. Hopefully they put that out on a streamer or put that out to buy and rent, because I'll rent that ASAP. And yeah, hope they put that out soon. So, but yeah, that's just the landscape right now as we're in January. But in a couple weeks, in a few weeks, for those of you who even care, if there's anything to go see, obviously it's going to be Captain America: Brave New World, which comes out on the 14th. So that's something. And I know not everybody's into superhero movies, but like there are things there. You just have to go. Is there anything that I can be open to? Right? A Complete Unknown, right? The Bob Dylan movie, or Nosferatu, or going to see Wicked, which is still in theaters, which is crazy. I think Gladiator's still out, Moana 2, right? Den of Thieves, Sonic 3, Mufasa, One of Them Days, The Wolfman, right? And there's even that movie with Mark Wahlberg, which I'm kind of iffy on. It's called Flight Risk. It's got Topher Grace in it. It looks fine. But just being open, like to something, because there are things that are out. It's just a little harder right now. Because of the January, and for people that have seen most of the holiday stuff, just a little harder right now. Somewhat slim pickings, but there is something to check out. And then obviously you have the streamers where there's so much going on. Like this past week, for those that have Apple TV Plus, Severance just came out. Severance season 2, which we've been waiting on for I think 2 years. So season 2 of Severance finally found its way on Apple TV. And I probably haven't said it enough on this podcast, but Severance is that show. If you need a show, get Apple TV Plus for free, or for free for 3 months if that's still a thing, or whatever. Get it and watch Severance. I've had a few people that have just watched it within the last week, and they binged through it because they were so intrigued with the show and intrigued to see where it was going to go. And then for almost 2 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we were left on a cliffhanger waiting for season 2. And then season 2 finally gets here, and we finally get to start the story back up. So that's streaming right now, and that's going to be streaming weekly. So Severance, if there's anything you need to watch right now, if there's anything, and you're like, I don't want to go to a movie, maybe I'll turn to a show. Severance is that show. I've heard of many. Obviously, there's other shows out there to check out. But Severance, right now, I think Severance is that show. Which is produced and directed. I don't know how many episodes he's directing this season, but he's executive producer, Ben Stiller. A big part of the success of this show. So please check out Severance. I know that's another streamer service. And by the way, Apple TV Plus, a good shout out to Apple TV Plus. There's a lot of good content on there. I'm in the middle of Bad Monkey, and I think it's great. Apple TV Plus has a lot of good stuff. Shrinking, which I need to finish watching. I need to start season 2. Silo, which I need to start season 2 of Silo. Like, there's a lot of good content on Apple TV Plus. There's some stuff that I probably missed. But there's some good content, and it's definitely one of the best streaming networks out there. For sure, without a doubt. So that's my tidbit for that, right? Cool. Let me see. There was something else I really wanted to talk about before we get into Wolfman. Star Wars. I've mentioned Star Wars on this podcast before. The last Star Wars project was in the works by Simon Kinberg, and I was not excited for it. I'm still like, I don't know what to do with Star Wars. I heard the Star Wars show Skeleton Crew that's on Disney Plus. I think it's done now. All the episodes are out. I heard that was really good. My old roommate Jared, who's been on this podcast before, he said Skeleton Crew was pretty good. It's a fun show, so I need to check that out. And he actually said it was the best show since Mandalorian, first season of Mandalorian, which is like, wow, that's huge. But for Star Wars, Ryan Gosling is in talks to star in a Sean Levy movie, Star Wars movie. Sean Levy, folks who don't know who Sean Levy is, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's Sean Levy, right? Free Guy, that's Sean Levy. Not at the Museum, that's Sean Levy. Real Steel. Yep, that's Sean Levy. The Adam Project, that was on Netflix with Ryan Reynolds. That's Sean Levy. So Sean Levy is he's a well-known director. A lot for the comedy. For his comedy in some of these films. So Sean Levy and Ryan Gosling are looking to team up for a Star Wars movie. Could be the juice that the Star Wars franchise needs. Right? Star Wars is in a weird space. I think it's in a much rougher space than the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 100%. I think I'd even go the extra notch to say it's even worse, in a worse state than the DC universe, DC films. And we barely started with James Gunn's universe, but I think Star Wars is worse off right now. And I say that because I don't think Disney and Lucasfilms have any idea what to do and where to go. Now we're hearing these projects that are in the cooker and that they're coming. And there's some stuff here and there, but I'm not sure. I'm not really completely sold on anything yet. And so right now, it feels like this is a wait and see game for anything Star Wars. Anything Star Wars right now, it's a wait and see game. And I think, in my personal preference, and this is what I hope they're aiming to get back to, because I think all these Star Wars shows now, I think they've kind of completed. I think the only thing left, I think they might do Ahsoka season 2. I'm hoping more of the focus for Star Wars content goes back to the movies. Right. I want Star Wars to feel like an event. I'll never forget the Force Awakens trailer and how it made me feel to go, we're getting a new Star Wars movie. Even though fan boys and girls really crapped over the idea of Disney bringing Star Wars back, there was still a moment where it was the highest viewed trailer in 5 minutes and 10 minutes. When that came out, it set the internet ablaze. All the talk was ablaze. And then you got there on Thursday night to see that film that we've been anticipating for years because there hadn't been a Star Wars film. That's what I want with Star Wars again. Can they get that back? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm hoping they can. It's going to take a lot because you got to get people to care about Star Wars. It's kind of like the MCU, right? Got to get people to care about these stories, get people to care about these characters, right? And so it's going to be hard. It's not impossible. It is not impossible for Star Wars to come back and to come back great. There's been some really good moments of content, right? From the Ahsoka series. The Acolyte was not bad. I think the Acolyte, there's a lot there where I'm disappointed on how the show was treated, how things were handled. I also think the fans of Star Wars are its own worst enemy. The fans. Own worst enemy. I think right now that's the issue, is that Disney and Lucasfilm doesn't know what to do with the property. But then you have fans who nitpick every little bit of thing. And if they don't like this thing, or if this thing is too this, too that, then they bring it on down and they destroy it, which is what happened to the Acolyte, in my opinion. Because I thought the Acolyte gave one of the best Star Wars villains that we've probably yet to see, right? But people, they bad talk it and bad mouth it, and, it is what it is. So, I don't know what to think of Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy pairing. I think it could be good. It could be cool. But I do think that franchise needs something to really jumpstart it and give it life. Let people care about it. And I don't think the pathway is back to the Skywalker stuff. I think it's away from Skywalker stuff. It's away from that. It's away from the old era. It's away from the OG3, right? It's away from that stuff. So, Star Wars. We'll see. When it happens, it happens. Obviously, I'll be seated because I'm a big Star Wars guy. Grew up on that stuff. I'll be seated when it happens. So, we'll see. We'll see on that Star Wars front. Leonardo DiCaprio and the man himself, Martin Scorsese, are reuniting for a movie called Devil in the White City. Now, this article says it has been revived at 20th Century, which meaning it was a thing at one point and it kind of fell away. But this movie, Devil in the White City, actually it's based off of a book, so it says Devil in the White City movie. I probably was going to be by the same name. It's about a serial killer that's believed to murdered between 27 to 200 people at a time when the city of Chicago was enthralled with hosting the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this, but with Martin Scorsese, I think he's undoubtedly one of the great filmmakers of our time, and of all time. And then you got Leo, who's one of the great talents of all time. This is going to be a really good pairing. These two don't miss. Killers of the Flower Moon, which was their last movie together, which was fantastic, haunting, dark. Not sure if I'll ever watch that again. It was 3.5 hours, if I'm not mistaken. It was phenomenal, right? The Wolf of Wall Street, which I haven't seen all the way through, but I've seen bits and pieces. Shutter Island. So this pairing is one of a kind, and to see that they're reuniting on something like this, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. Leo is the type of actor that most people know. Not most people. Everybody knows who Leonardo DiCaprio is. Everybody knows who he is. He picks his projects meticulously. He doesn't just go and pick just anything to be in. So to see that, every time he picks something, it's with intention. He loves the script. He likes his pairing. He likes what this movie is going to do. And that's usually a really good sign. So I'm intrigued on it. I'm kind of excited. I think it'll be fun. It'll be one of those dark movies that maybe it'll be something with a lighthearted tone with dark notes. I think that could be interesting to see how that plays out. But then again, I don't know. I don't know the book, so we'll have to see. Let's get into it. Let's get into Wolfman. And before I get into Wolfman, I meant to mention this on last week's episode, and I forgot. And I meant to mention this before, and I forgot. But I'm thinking about the people in LA with the wildfires. I've been reading stuff where the fires are still going on and they're not completely out, and that the media has kind of just moved on, I guess. And it's pretty sad. And I'm just thinking about those people that are going through all those wildfires. I'm praying for them. I'm praying that the fires will stop. I'm praying for the support. I'm praying for the help. I think people gravitate towards people in LA and think naturally that some of these people are just rich. And I think I think people forget that these people get paid per job, right? So sometimes they're not making that much off of one job. And if they don't have another job within the next week, they're only living off of what they just made, right? So there's a lot that plays into that. And I think people, get really smug about people in California and LA and where they live and stuff like that. And I think you don't know other people's stories. So I think people should just be careful. Just be careful. Let's be careful with how we look at other people and what's going on in their lives, because let's be honest, we don't know. And just because they're an actor or actress, and if they're not big time, booked and busy, right? They got a company underneath them, and that company is booked and busy. Like, there's layers to that. There's layers to financial stuff. So let's just be kind of, let's be aware of that. And again, praying for the people out in LA, and I'm praying that they can get those fires contained and those fires will stop. All right, let's get back into Wolfman. Let's talk about it. Wolfman. I had good expectations or high expectations for this because of the direction of Wolfman. Usually the direction of a film, whoever's behind it, whoever's helming it, you usually can get a sense sometimes on what it will be and if it'll be good, right? Leigh Whannell, when I saw that Leigh Whannell was attached to this film, I instantly go, okay, I have a good feeling about this, because I felt like Leigh has really proved himself. So Leigh is known for directing the 2020 film The Invisible Man. I don't know if people remember, but back when we hit in the pandemic, this was one of those films. I mean, it came out February 28th, so it came out not that long before everything shut down. And I remember it distinctively going to, it went straight to digital 3 weeks after it premiered because of COVID. And this was one of those movies where I think there was some buzz going around about it being really good. And it was intense reboot of the 1933 film. And it felt like there was something fresh about this take. And so to see him being attached to Wolfman, it got me excited going that this could be really good. By the way, if you haven't seen The Invisible Man, I highly recommend it. I thought it was really, really good. But Wolfman takes on, it's another reboot from the 1941 film of the same name. It stars Christopher Abbott, Julia Garner, and then Sam Yeager. So it's about a family man, and following the death of his father, they go back to his childhood home to basically pack it up, and then they're attacked by, obviously, a werewolf, and he has to defend them. He has to defend himself, defend his family from the werewolf. But obviously, if you've seen the trailer, he gets bitten, and that's where the story gets really interesting, because he gets infected and he slowly transforms into this thing. So, by the way, that was not a spoiler. That's literally what the film is. That's literally what Wolfman is, what it's been from the first iteration to the second iteration. I really loved the way that Leigh Whannell directs. The drama, the sense of slowness. He doesn't rush things. The pace is really, really well. He paces things really, really well, and it makes the movie feel that more intriguing. So, obviously the movie doesn't start where it starts. It starts one way, and I'm not going to say how it starts, but it starts in this space, and it slowly takes us to where we need to go. But we don't have to wait too long for the things to get interesting, for the story to get interesting, right? And so that's what he does. He does it really, really well. And he doesn't rush things, and I just really appreciate his style of filmmaking. So beyond that, I thought the story was also really good. I think the film, yes, it's all about the thrills, and he gets bitten, and that he has to protect his family, but there's this, how he becomes this creature, right? How he becomes this creature. He's locked into this house, and he's trying to protect his family at the same time. But at the same time, his family is watching as he takes on this infection into it. It's really, really sad, right? Like if you let it sit, if you watch the movie and let it really sit into you, it's like watching a close family member, a close friend. You're trapped in the house. You can't go away from them. You're trapped somewhere where you can't call for help. And you're watching this person slowly get infected, get sick. And he doesn't, in a sense, he does die. He dies in a different way, but, he's no longer himself. He's what this creature is. And to watch that unfold, it's like, man, it really kind of eats you. Like it's really sad. And I thought what Leigh Whannell did, I thought it was really good to just see, to really watch how this family dynamic, to watch his wife and his daughter, watch them, watch him, and then see how that affects him, and also see how that kind of affects her. It's really cool to really just like sit and like let it burn within you, and it burned within me. I wasn't in tears, didn't cry, but it was something that you sit there and you're just watching it like, oh my gosh, like this is it's not campy, right? Like this movie is not campy. Like it's not meant, like you're not watching it and looking at it and you're laughing and like, oh, this is kind of funny. Like, no, like this is like made to feel real, right? It feels grounded. It feels like if this were to happen now, this is how it would look. And not only that, but it feels like it was just executed in a way where it's like, I believe like if this was an actual thing that's running around out where it is, that's what it would look like. That's how it would feel. And sometimes that can be a tension with people because, it might not feel right to certain people. It might not feel like that's the right way to go. But this feels like this is the right way to go. And it works. It works super well for me. And that's, and again, to further that discussion, like the risk of modernizing the story, because I know the one that I think it came out in 2006 or something like that. It wasn't a present day story. It was taking place way back when, like I think centuries ago, maybe something like that. But this one it's present day, and then there's that family element, that dynamic that makes you realize how high the stakes are, and it kind of makes it feel personal. And the acting was super good too. I really appreciated the acting. Christopher Abbott did a solid job. I don't think I've seen Christopher Abbott in anything. I don't think I've seen him in anything. He was in Poor Things. I don't watch all of Poor Things. Let's see, television. No, I didn't watch any of these things he was in television. So this seems like this was like a nice big role for Christopher Abbott. Let me see. He was on some Broadway shows, like plays, which was cool. But it looks like he was in First Man, A Most Violent Year, It Comes at Night. This is some stuff that he's been in. But I think this is his first role. Main role. Big role. And then Julia Garner, who's been getting a lot of, I feel like, traction as a recent. I feel like I've heard her name, just as an up and coming actress, that's been in just taking on a lot of stuff. She was in FX's drama The Americans, and a Netflix miniseries called Maniac, a Bravo true crime series Dirty John, that was back in 2018 and 2019. And also she was in, how can I forget? She's in Ozark, which she received a critical acclaim and won 3 Primetime Emmy Awards. for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series, and a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress. So she's making, I feel like, a lot more presence within Hollywood, and I've seen her name and some stuff. She's in the new Fantastic Four movie, and then she's in another movie called Weapons. So Julia Garner was pretty solid too. And then Sam Yeager. Sam Yeager did a fantastic job too. Who, by the way, is at Perrysburg, Ohio, which is, that's where I live. Perrysburg, Ohio, but he's from Perrysburg, Ohio. He's from Toledo, which is so cool. From Ohio, went to Perrysburg High School, and then went to Honorine, and then he went on to do some acting, which is super cool. So, I mean, casting was solid. Wasn't a huge cast. The daughter too, so that makes there's about 4, maybe 5 actors and actresses total. So it wasn't a huge cast. And again, I think also Leigh Whannell got straight to the point with this story. Again, didn't feel like it was dragging, didn't feel like we were here too long. Like, it moved and it did what it needed to do in a good way. So love the acting. And then again, depth to the lead character and the connection with his daughter. That's a cool, unique moment, and that's a cool, unique space that we get to see and feel in the movie. I love when you hop into a story, when you get to start reading dynamics, start reading what this character is. What did he do? What does she do? Where does he stand here? Where does she stand here? Oh, where do they work? How's their relationship with their family? Like, you get to learn about these characters, and you get to really read them well, read them how they are. Real quick, I'm watching. I gotta finish it. It's a real pain. It's with Kieran Culkin and Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg directed it, and I think he wrote it. Which Kieran just won a Golden Globe for his role as a Best Supporting Actor. But as the movie started, Kieran is just sitting in the airplane, and the look on his face and who he is, I instantly start reading. Who is this guy? Why is he sitting the way that he is? Oh, he looks troubled. Is he into drugs? Does he hate his life? Is he depressed? Like, all these things start trickling in my mind, and you start to ask questions about this character, and you start to get intrigued with the story just to see how everything unfolds. That's what this is for me. Like, I love getting to be put into this world with these 3 characters, or I should say 4. I just say 4 because those are 4 the kind of the main people, and I get to learn a little bit about each and every one of them without giving, like, you're not giving anything on a platter. Like, this person works here, or this person has a bad relationship with this person. Like, no, it's not given to you on a platter. You're reading the dynamics. You're reading between the lines. You're listening to the tones and and watch your facial expressions. So all that stuff. And so I love sitting through this movie and being able to, you can mark things down and really kind of guide, okay, this is what these characters are. This is who they are. It's one of my favorite parts about watching, not just this movie, but all movies in general. I've been trying to look at it from that lens, where not that I'm trying to guess everything, every minute, every beat, everything this character is going to do, but as you're learning about a character and as you're introduced, you already have a sense of, like, sometimes you're like, you don't know who this character is, but you have your initial impressions of these characters. Excuse me. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I did struggle with the look of the Wolfman character. I think mentally I go to an actual wolf-like features in a sense, but what I think, again, strip it back, I think the team behind this movie really wanted to go for a real gritty, surreal look of what that would be. Not campy, right? Not something that's campy and very old, right? Very old-timey. I think there's a modern feel that Leigh Whannell and all the teams really wanted to go with. for this film. And again, I had to fight myself on it a little bit, but I quickly kind of got around to, okay, this is what this is. This is the transformation, all this stuff. I got around to it eventually. That was probably one of the things that I kind of did not like as much when thinking about this movie. I also wish I got a little bit more from, I think, because of the dynamic between Julia Garner's character and their daughter, whose name is Ginger. I think even though there's something there, I wish I had more from what that relationship was. Right? I won't go into detail because I don't want to spoil it, but I wish I could get more into there. I wish they would allow those two to get more in that relationship. But then again, like I said, this movie is only like hour and a half, maybe hour 43. It's not super long. Again, my point is that Leigh Whannell gets to the point. He gets to it. He doesn't waste time. He doesn't drag his feet. We get to where we need to go. And I think, again, he does a good job with that. And it doesn't feel too short, neither too long. But I thought overall Wolfman rocked. I thought it was a good movie, and I thought it was just, again, I think it wasn't the thrill of it all, of the jump scares that made me go, oh wow, this is what was good. I think it's that deeper plot, that deeper connection. There's just some relationships that I won't dive into that I thought added so much value to the movie, and there's a very interesting message there. As the main character is trying to protect his daughter. All he wants to do is protect his daughter, but then he can't, because at the end of the day, he becomes the very thing, this thing that he's trying to protect his daughter from, and all this other stuff. And I enjoyed those little storylines within it. So other than that, I thought this movie was pretty good. I thought it was well directed. Again, Leigh Whannell did a good job. I mean, I really would love to see Leigh Whannell do more in the future. I think that would be cool, because I think he's proven to be a really solid filmmaker, especially in that horror, that thriller world. I think he's proved that he can give you really good content. He can give you something good to enjoy, something to talk about. Even for me, like when thinking about this compared to what's that movie called? Oh, The Invisible Man. I thought The Invisible Man is like a much better film. I think the layer that he did with it, the thrill of the fact that the girl, the main protagonist, she thought her ex-boyfriend or husband, I can't remember, is dead, and he's actually not. And that whole mystery behind it makes it very, very thrilling. And the way that the film unfolds, I think it's just really good. So I think Leigh Whannell deserves to handle a little bit more. But this begs the question for me, like thinking about Universal and thinking about how Universal has been in this space with their monster series, and they're trying to figure. I think they've kind of been sitting and trying to figure out what that looks like. And I think these films, from The Invisible Man and now Wolfman, I think there's something there that they need to keep tapping into. If I'm not mistaken, there's another Mummy movie on the cusp, and I think Universal needs to press into this, but do it with caution, because I think if they do it with caution, if they look at this movie and go, or look at Wolfman, you look at The Invisible Man and go, how can we? And it's not just the idea of modernizing it, right? Because they did The Mummy and they did it with Tom Cruise, and I love Tom, but that movie bombed, that movie flopped, and nobody went to go see it. It's not just about modernizing it. That's not why these movies worked. I think these movies work because they had something to say. The Invisible Man has something to say on domestic violence. Wolfman has something to say about relationships. Again, I won't completely say what until people go see this movie. But it has something to say, and with the modern effect, it's done well. It's well executed, right? That's what Universal needs for any of this stuff to succeed. So yeah, a new Mummy movie is coming. From the Evil Dead Rise director Lee Cronin, for he's to direct a new one for New Line. So there's some stuff brewing there where I think Blumhouse is also supposed to finance. So it seems like Warner Brothers is starting to find their way with these characters, because they did a Dark Universe. They were supposed to do this whole Dark Universe thing back in like 2014 or whatever, and it flopped. And it had like Tom Cruise a part of it, and it had I think Luke Evans as well. I think he was Dracula. Like, it was a whole thing, and it fell apart because these movies didn't do well. The Dracula Untold didn't perform well. The Mummy movie flopped. So there was a lot there, and they really couldn't get it off the ground. But I think if Universal is smart and they play their cards right with Blumhouse, right? Blumhouse is doing a good job here. I think they can create this new realm, this new sphere of Dark Universe films, because I believe these stories are they're classics, but there's a way to tell stuff. There's a way to do a reboot and to do it well and to do it effectively, right? I think that's the key. That's the key. How do you do it well and do it effectively? It also starts with getting the right people, getting the right team, which again, all that is hard stuff, and it's not easy. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, like in the coming years, what that looks like. But there's something there that I think Universal should really press into when you look at The Wolfman and you look at The Invisible Man, you look at these two films and like, oh, this worked, right? The Wolfman didn't have the splash that The Invisible Man had, but there's something there that goes, let's keep tapping into this. It doesn't have to be Leigh Whannell directing more of these things, right? He doesn't have to keep directing them, but there's something there where it's like, if we find the right filmmaker, the right auteur, we can give them solid properties to create something great, right? We can give them these movies, a Dracula character, and say, hey, give us a fresh take on Dracula. It doesn't have to be modern, right? This worked for Leigh Whannell. He made it work effectively. And so that's what these other filmmakers, if they decide to go that direction, that's what they're going to have to do. So I think The Wolfman it's worth entertaining, definitely worth going to check out. I wouldn't be mad if somebody decided I'm not going to pay $15 or $10 or however much to go see it. I get it, but it's definitely worth checking out on discount day. It is one of those movies where the sound is really good. For me, the sound was pretty good and worth checking out at theaters. But it isn't one of those. It's not a home run ticket. Hey, top it online, go run to the theater, go see it, right? It's not that film, but it is something that I'm like, people should definitely entertain and go see. So, Wolfman, definitely check that out. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. By this point, Oscar nomination should be out, and I don't know, not feeling extremely excited. I like award season to a certain extent. I think I am looking at this scope or this landscape of films this year, and some of them, and not everything looks and sounds good to me. So picking and choosing what I'm going to watch, what I'm going to see every year, I try to make it my goal to see every Best Picture nominee. And I don't know if that's going to happen this year. I think I'm going to keep trying. Again, I'm watching A Real Pain, and we'll see where that ends up. And the nominations that comes out for me tomorrow, and by the time this episode comes out, it'll already be out. But we'll see what happens on that awards front. not super excited. I don't think last year or any year a film is particularly bad, right? You always have your good ones. You always have the ones that hits, the films that hits. But I don't know. I think this past year film didn't completely wow me. I think last year was even better for me. That's just my preference. And I'm hoping that this year there's some sleepers. And I feel like there's always low budget indie films that come out of nowhere and that surprise people. And that, that are well received. So there's tons of movies out there that I think that are going to come up. And I don't know. I just hope that this year is just a really good year and a sound year as we eventually, I know we're only in January, but eventually when we get to that point and we're looking at 2026, I'm hoping that I can look back on 2025 and go, well, 2025 was a good year. Where I look at 2024, I'm like, 2024 is cool. So I think that's it for the Real Table Podcast today. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining in and watching. If you're watching, thank you for listening. Give me your thoughts on if you're excited to see Wolfman, if you're going to go see it or not. Give me your thoughts on that. Thoughts on Star Wars. Yeah, just give me your thoughts. And if you like this episode, like it. Don't forget to subscribe, share with people. I want to continue to grow this audience. I want people to continue to tune in. Yeah, I love doing this, and I'm going to keep doing this for as long as I can. Don't forget, too, feel free to go back and watch previous episodes. I know we did most anticipated movies of 2025, which is super exciting. I got Cornelius and Josiah on for that episode. Go check that out. Go listen to Golden Globes episode, and go even listen to last year's movie episodes, movie breakdown episodes. Those were fun. And this is the first one of the year. And I'm hoping that this year I can do many, many more. That's one of my goals this year, is to do more movie review episodes. And then we'll probably throw in some shows in the mix here and there. We'll see. Other than that, I thank y'all so much for tuning into the Real Table Podcast. To anybody that listens to this and they're in LA, I am praying for you, and I'm praying that all the help that is needed for people to get back on their feet, that people find it. There's a lot of opportunities and there's a lot of options out there for help. I'm hearing, I saw some videos where some places were getting, they had clothes, and some shelters didn't have enough room for clothes and stuff and resources, and there's going to be a lot of people that need help. So if you're a praying person, pray for those people that need help. And if you're out there looking for options, there's options out there, and I'm hoping that you're able to find those options. Yep. Other than that, y'all be safe out here, and it's cold where I'm at, but be safe, be warm, and I'm gonna talk to y'all real soon. I'll see y'all really soon. Peace. Once again, thank y'all so much for joining me today on the Real Table Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and even comment. I want to hear your thoughts, and I want to hear your opinions. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at The Real Table Pod, and on Twitter at The Real Table. And don't forget to also check me out on therealtable.com for news, articles, and reviews. I will see y'all soon. Peace.